And we're live. Whoa, hello all, and welcome back to the Sigil stream. My name is always Mr. Harlan Guthrie, and we are here once again with the talented, the super zoomed in, Mr. Gary.
Hi!
We are, of course, here with the one and only Ahmed. Oh yeah, baby. Listen to that crowd go wild. Oh, they're kissing. Oh my god, that got inappropriate fast. And of course, we were joined by the ever-talented... If Ahmed just never decides to... I want to get a picture of him leaning up from the chair. Alright, and we're joined by Erica, who also...
I get the music too! Ah, it's awesome!
Everyone gets it. And of course, Joe.
Kill him with Joe! There you go!
And we are here with Hereafter, the First Fire, Chapter 13.
The most romantic of all the numbers, the sexy 13.
The unlucky 13. Although there are certain places in the world that don't have like a 13th floor in their hotel and things like that, which is interesting to me.
There's lots of buildings around me that don't have 13s.
It's interesting though to think about, but think about how omnipotent. No, I don't know what the word is, but how prevalent. Thank you.
Ubiquitous.
A superstition.
Superstition.
Yeah.
But it seems
In Japan,
different
it's number
cultures.
4.
I was just gonna fucking say that.
People believe in
right?
all kinds of bullshit. But hang on,
doesn't
I
it
can't
kinda
hear, I can't hear
seem-
Joe. Joe, you're muted.
You can hear
Or
her through me,
somehow.
can't you? Oh shit!
Yeah,
You
here's
turned
for you.
yourself down. We never turned you back up. Remember?
That's so funny because I was talking earlier. and
She's
no one
saying
said
it's so
shit.
funny because she was talking earlier and no one said shit, and she felt that people didn't like her.
You know what? You were a little quiet.
Wait, what's a better song? Sam?
That's why I just...
Wait. There we go. Now
great song.
are you? Can we hear you now?
Hello,
There we go.
Yeah, we're good.
ladies.
It's just interesting to me the Venn diagram of like people who build elevators and superstitious people. I didn't expect that to be so closely overlaid.
I mean,
Yeah.
the superstitious people are the ones buying the buildings. You're not catering to people actually building them. They'll build
think?
whatever.
Yeah, but do you think some superstitious person was like, oh, by the way, skip
No, 'cause
13?
Engineers
I think
are like,
they
no,
knew that they had to like
no.
rent floors and rooms. They're like superstitious people who come to buy for the person who bought will not buy the ones that they have 13.
But
So-
also, doesn't it kind of seem stupid? Because it's still the 13th floor. You're just not calling it that. Like, they don't make a big block and just leave it.
No, they took it off.
What?
Right. I don't
they built
think-
it
I
and
don't
then they
think-
took it away.
No. Oh, yeah. They
they
shift
just chopped it out?
Yeah, they chop it
yeah.
out. It's like Minecraft.
I think it's the other way around. I don't think the real estate developers give a crap what number the floor is. I think
They just want people in their building.
I think there was maybe a period of time. I gotta look this up now. Maybe a period of time where people weren't buying the 13th floor. Right?
That's what it was, yeah.
The people are superstitious, all of them, and the real estate is just following the lunacy of everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, speaking
There's
of
no
haunted
accounting for
buildings,
taste.
speaking of haunted buildings, last week we talked a little bit about Ghostbusters and Afterlife. And Ahmed, you have now seen
I
Afterlife.
Yes.
Did you prepare
And
for
they hit every note. They hit every musical beat, every joke perfect, and I felt nothing. And I think it's just because I am nostalged out.
Yeah, baby.
Like I'm nostalged out. I can't help it.
No,
Nothing. The MCU. I watched Eternals too, and I was like, okay.
Well,
Like,
Eternals
it was enjoyable.
Kind of, is it, man?
It was enjoyable. I liked it because of how dark it was. Like it was totally like not.
Well, don't say anything because I haven't seen it
expect
yet,
that.
and I'm sure I will because it's.
Oh, you
part
haven't
of-
seen it? No, I'm not gonna.
Man,
No,
it would have been
I'm
such a
I'm
good
nostalged out.
Disney Plus series, and it wasn't.
Really?
It should have
Speaking
been.
of, have you seen the Moon Knight trailer?
I've seen gift sets.
Oh, that just came out
No.
today.
It just came out. It's good. It looks really good.
Who's playing Moon Knight?
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
good.
guy.
I know.
I can't
so
even
good.
imagine him on TV.
Oh, he's one of my favorite actors.
It's
honestly.
No,
on
I'm
TV,
saying
it's
he's
Disney
a
Plus.
film actor. I can't imagine him on TV. Like, cause some people cross over and some people don't. Like.
I don't think that's the case anymore, unfortunately. I
It's
think,
a
yeah.
miniseries. It's
a
different. It's dramatic,
miniseries.
like Spielberg.
It's a real
for
long
real.
film.
The minute they did like honestly, the day 2001 when like Band of Brothers, the TV show came out, and it was oh my god, this is a 10 episode of Saving Private Ryan, which it is, but way better. I honestly think people have been like if you think about it, we've sort of been overwhelmed over the past number of years without realizing, but like Kevin Spacey, House of Cards, Kevin Costner, Yellowstone, and Kevin Costner is basically my guideline for anything in the world. So the minute he went over to TV, I was like, well, TV's happening now, people, get to it. But seriously, even the bigger name stars are having smaller shows. Like, I've always been a huge fan of Tim Roth, and I didn't realize he did like a Wild West series like 5 years ago called Tin Star. It's like had like 3 seasons.
Really?
Of it. I was like, yeah.
Tim Star?
Tim starred in Tin Star. No, but I think the crossover is becoming, especially with Disney Plus. It's like razor thin now.
It
Like,
doesn't
people
count
are-
as TV. HBO doesn't count as TV. Netflix still does. Hulu still does. I'm told. I don't have Hulu. Oh, we don't get that
Who
here.
has Hulu? We don't get it here.
I have Hulu.
Hulu.
Hulu has live sports.
Hulu sounds like a fake.
Oh, there you go.
Does it? You watch live sports, Gary?
What sports do you
I'm
watch?
married into American football.
That makes sense.
I never watched it, never really had an interest, and now it's like, I'll bleed for the Cowboys.
It's gonna.
Erica's face.
But you were, even in Ireland though, you were raised on a tradition of football, right?
I never played it. I enjoyed basketball if I was to play a sport, but yeah, I watched the football, soccer.
For some
AFC
reason,
Richmond.
I can imagine Erica playing some kind of intramural sport.
Volleyball.
Every
So
single
do you-
person I've met has said, Erica, you must have played sports. I hate sports. I have not played them. I've
My
done
girl.
0 sports my entire life.
Welcome.
You're at home.
And not to brag on it, as if people, I don't just
No, same with me.
Joe,
I
you
mean,
do
even
boxing.
Gary even asked
Yeah.
me. I think you were like, Gary, did you ever do, or Harlan, did you ever do
Look
sports?
like a
Look
pro.
at this cat. Let's get this cat.
trying
No, it's
so
gone,
hard.
it's
Just
gone,
get
it's a
it gently
secret.
out of the way.
No, it's great.
Aw, kid.
Anyway, so nostalgic Ghostbusters, I agree. I mean, to me, and it was funny because I mentioned this. I might have mentioned it here, or might have mentioned it, Joe, whatever. But like, there's shots when they show the proton pack of like these like panning, like this is the thing you've been waiting for. Where in the first movie, there's just nothing.
They're just there.
Just wearing them. They're just like, oh yeah, fucking switch me on. Like I don't. What is this? It's a nuclear generator. Let's go shoot the thing.
Yeah.
Like it's given so little attention, but now it's so idolized. And I think that's where they're wrong. Like that to me is the big disconnect. The movie was just about a girl finding Ghostbuster shit. Like she was like, oh, the ghost charger, oh, the proton pack, oh, a uniform. None of this means anything to me. I'm a girl. It doesn't know any of this shit. But hey, audience, yeah.
I think it speaks to anybody who basically grew up after Ghostbusters actually came
Yeah.
out. Your parents, your older
Yes.
siblings be talking about how amazing it is, so you only
Yes,
ever got the
clearly.
hype afterwards. This is a movie about the hype that you've
Yeah.
been sold on your entire lives.
Yeah, but it's
You know-
also like, I think a generational, like they're trying to be like, watch it with your family.
Yeah,
Bring
kids
them
now.
the
bridging the
mother's
gap.
drunk.
Ghostbusters.
The mother drinks too
wanna
much
see-
wine. The
Well,
thing
it
is,
was the same thing with the live actions, any of the live action Disney movies, but things like Aladdin.
Oh,
like
yeah.
nobody now, like as
I
a
didn't-
kid nowadays, who'd be the target audience for an actual
Yeah.
Aladdin movie, knows
Yeah.
who Will Smith is. That's
No.
us and up.
who?
Well, like no one knows, but they picked
For
him
real.
because they knew they were bringing the parents, because that's how you bring in the whole thing of
It's
we
actually
make it. But
it's
now
actually funny you mentioned that because I was like, look, I always liked Will Smith. You know, well, I always liked Will Smith, and Henry, our son, obviously has like no frame of reference. So the other day I threw on Wild Wild West, and I don't remember it being that bad.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like 10 minutes in, I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. I was like, this is like a bad movie. But I remember being like, oh, it's fun. Like there's a big claw and like there's like funny stuff, but like is so bad, like so bad. I was
dodge.
embarrassed.
That was
for
the
Will
movie
Smith.
that was always on HBO, and I'd always be like, I'd have to turn to something else.
But like I don't know, maybe I just remembered it wrong or I didn't care. But
I
it's
forget his name immediately. The guy who made Clerks.
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith, right? How he does his whole explanation of how he was going to make a Superman movie,
Yes!
and he was doing that like interview with I forget the guy who made Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
But he was
With the
talking about how
Barry
he
spider.
Sonnenfeld.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I think that's what his name was. But he was explaining the entire pitch, how to just kind of went along. He got some weird vibes from what the direction he wanted to go to, but he's like, all right, whatever. I want to get paid, so this is what you want. This is what you'll get. And then it never happened. And then he apparently went to go watch Wild Wild West and was like, oh, you know what, man? You didn't let your dreams be dreams.
Yeah.
Because all
it's
that.
Well, it's
he
interesting
was
though.
like, he was commissioned to write Superman, and then they were like, we're going to bring in this big shot writer who's so great, and he's going to help you. And he's like, great, brilliant. And he kept on like, maybe Superman fights a spider. Maybe Superman fights a big spider. Like, no, I don't think we should do that. What?
Oh, it was the guy who fights a polar bear too. He wants him to fight a polar bear at the North Pole.
Yeah.
No, that
And
was
like-
no. You know who that is? That was actually the producer of Batman, and
Oh,
because of the original Batman with Keaton Nicholson.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, he got a lot of fame, but it was the same guy who worked on that, and because of that, his fame through that, he thought he was just gonna do superhero movies, like just walk in and be like, "Hey, why don't you just have Superman fight a polar bear?" You know, that's
Before
cool,
his time.
right?
Before his time.
It's like straight up that demeanor, and they're like,
I mean, I don't know what fell in place to make this movie a thing. It's just not. It didn't. I remember it being very
Will
better.
Smith
Oh,
was red hot at the time, I'm sure. Just like, yeah, put
well,
him in anything.
apparently, it's funny. It was so bad. I started looking up like trivia as I was watching it. We didn't watch anywhere near 15 minutes. I was like, I know, we're not watching this. I was like, sorry. He wouldn't even give a shit. He's like, what is this bullshit? But
Exact
I was,
quote.
Yeah, he's like, what is this bullshit? But no, I was looking up, and apparently
Welcome to
Will
Earth.
Smith passed on Matrix to make
did,
Wild
yeah.
Wild
yes.
And he
That
said it was like
sounds
the biggest
cool.
regret of his career. But anyway, my point being that nostalgia, like driven, obviously is our market right now, which I totally get. And honestly, it's funny because there was a big sweep, maybe in the mid '90s to like mid 2000s, where I think they were really into reboots rather than sequels. Remember, they rebooted Dawn of the Dead.
yeah.
They rebooted, they did a
Spider-Man.
lot. And I remember people being upset about it, and I never really cared because I was like, whatever, give them another shot at it. But I would so prefer a reboot than these nostalgia-driven sequels, because the thing is, like, me seeing that, like Ghostbusters, which I did not watch, it didn't appeal to me, but I don't care that it exists. The remake, the one they did with all the chicks, totally fine that
I
it
liked
exists.
that one a lot.
It was
I thought
good.
It was good.
But you know what? I don't
I
care
like
that it wasn't my cup of tea, but that's okay. It didn't take anything away from Ghostbusters to exist, and I've always felt that way with remakes because it doesn't hurt the original. But these nostalgia-driven sequels, I do feel different about Ghostbusters now, seeing where they took the characters. I'm like, oh. And it's the same with Star Wars. After watching Star Wars and being like, oh, that's what happens to Han Solo, it did make me feel weirder about enjoying the series. So I am all for reboots, remakes, fuck them up, do whatever you want. Like, I'm referencing Evil Dead because I liked what
Oh
they
god,
did, but it's
Ash vs.
so
Evil Dead
different.
was great.
Oh, Ash vs. Evil Dead is amazing. I'm talking about the remake of Evil Dead where they did they
Recap, the 20-minute
remade it. It's
party recap.
very, very
Very
different.
bloody.
It's very bloody. It doesn't have any of what I loved about Evil Dead, but in its own right, in a nice bloody movie, I was like totally down for it. But like, it didn't change it, and that I'm more into, unless you're gonna do it right. And Ash vs. Evil Dead did it right. The series
Yeah, it
is
was
amazing.
amazing.
It's so fucking
Very
good.
fun.
But it was
And
Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi did
think
the
he
pilot
directed it.
and then
Yeah.
did like
Oh.
he did the same. You haven't seen it, Gary?
I've never seen any of the. I've seen bits of the Evil Dead films.
He's not
What-
a horror
Did you
guy.
see? Did you see Army of Darkness?
Gary, you have to see
No.
Army of Darkness. You'd love Army of
Oh,
Darkness.
okay.
It's
Gary,
kind of. It was scary,
Henry's
then
seen
got
Army
funny,
of
right?
Four-year-olds.
Yeah,
I
basically
showed
they're
it.
like, let's just be
Oh, no.
wacky.
I've just
Henry
never
loves
seen it because I've never seen it. I never kind of thought like, oh, it's too spooky, can't watch it. I was just like, I never came across it.
Bro,
It's
somewhere I
hard.
watched
do
it.
me a
It's hard to
favor.
watch that. Like, Evil.
good.
For me personally, I would recommend Army of Darkness first because Evil Dead is so old. and
I think I've seen the first
Nah.
one.
It
I
dates
actually,
well.
I kind of say
I
the
don't know.
first one is very dated. Like you watch it, you're like, are these guys even trying?
It looks
It's
like
like
so
overly
good.
budget
Okay,
movie.
okay,
you
but
watch it so to
didn't
watch
they
the second
remake it?
one.
You're gonna make him cry.
Well, they
Well, they
remade
did-
it.
they
Yeah,
did the second
yeah.
one.
Okay, but Evil Dead is like it's like a story of like making a movie with your friends because it's just the
Yes.
five of them made it,
Right.
and it's so cool for what it is. And honestly, in terms of like shittily shot dated movies, there are a lot worse. Like some of the old Wes Craven or like John Carpenter stuff, like they're like really bad. Evil Dead honestly holds up. There's some cheesy effects, I will give it that, but But in terms of like the story and all, and the acting, and all that stuff, it holds
I
up.
wouldn't even say that. And the reason why I say that is because the effects are fine. They're what they are. But the
the
actual
effects-
character of what I thought, for the time it was
I'm
what
gonna
it
pull
was.
up a gif of the puppet
But-
that I know I'm thinking
but
of because I've seen this
for,
movie 1,000
The
times.
actual characters, especially for Ash, like I like the fact that they didn't really know what they were going to do with it, because you look at the character and think you were absolutely very generic, as most you could be. But then you compare that to Ash vs. Evil Dead and how he is there, and you're like, this matters so much more because of what he becomes. So it's the opposite of Ghostbusters. You appreciate it so much more as a starting point for where it does end up.
Oh, he's got the best hero's journey, and I
it's
love
fantastic.
that he's such a shitbag. Like,
He
I
just
love.
stops giving a shit
becomes
immediately,
such a
halfway through the
fucking
second movie.
dick.
I think Army of Darkness
Yeah.
is the first one where it becomes really like
A dick. Yeah.
cut loose, like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
He's-
He stops caring.
ridiculous.
It's funny because Evil Dead 1 and 2 are like straight up like he's the hero. Well, no, Evil Dead 1, he's a coward, which I love.
Yes, he's
That's
not the
why I
hero,
love
right.
Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2, he becomes a hero about halfway through. Evil Dead 3, he's like, oh, I like being a hero, and I'm gonna be a total dick about everything. And then Ash vs. Evil Dead is like a dick hero who only did one good thing but still lives off it, and it's literally Ash is the best arc ever. I don't care, he's just so good. Honestly, think of a better arc for a character between like he never is humbled. You know, he's just like, and the show did it so good because like he doesn't really lose in the show either. Like he fucks up, like gets people killed, but then kind of wins anyway. So it's so
because
good.
he's a character who keeps his standards so perfectly low that he keeps overshooting them every single time. And he's really good at overshooting them in that one specific way, and that just happens
Yes.
to be the thing that's plaguing his life the most.
Oh my God, it's
which he
so
brought on
good.
himself.
Yeah, the best part of Ash vs. Evil Dead is that the whole reason everything comes back is just because he got fucking high again and read from the book.
To impress a lady.
He's like not. It's like no. Like the other books are like there's like he played a tape, Cabin in the Woods, whatever. Army of Darkness. You know he doesn't say the book right, whatever. This is just like fuck. You want to hear some good shit? Listen to this. It's so good, Gary. It is my favorite series of all time.
It is so good.
Evil Dead-
So well
Evil
done.
Dead
I'll
2,
give it a
Army of
watch.
Darkness in the series. And I say
After
series
Boss
as in, like,
Baby,
all.
or in parallel, just switch between the two. They're basically the same show.
I'm hoping that yes, Ash's arc is only rivaled by Boss Baby.
Boss Baby.
But you know what's funny? We're talking about the first and the third in the show, but personally, my favorite is Evil Dead 2. So I would say start with that because I think that's the best one. I think it matches humor and comedy. It summarizes the first movie. It has a great that's where all the groovies and all the fucking like quotable lines come from. It's Evil Dead 2.
That then got a pilfer for Duke Nukem. That then itself got pilfer for Duke Nukem Forever.
Oh,
They Duke Nukem Forever. Oh,
Yeah.
No. Oh no.
Waited
We
so
don't
long
talk
for
about
that one. That's what
We don't-
we got.
10+ years they
It was
said they were
so
making that?
Gearbox or was it Gearbox? Yeah, Gearbox did it and they fucked it up. It's terrible. Anyway,
I love Gearbox Studios, who are based in Texas and often hire in Texas. Gearbox Studios.
Make out with
Oh, wait.
Gearbox Studios.
You missed it. You missed the zoom.
So sorry.
I can just zoom all night. Let's play.
Actually, I think old school Gearbox did the Half-Life sequels, and I'm a big fan of Half-Life, so they have some good stuff for me. And you know, I think they did Borderlands, which I'm actually
They did.
they did make those, yeah.
Borderlands is fantastic gameplay and very little plot, and I'm saying that knowing some people are gonna be furious because
Well,
It's okay. There's
Set
a
the
lot of
internet.
fetching.
it's funny because Joe and I were looking for another co-op game, and obviously we're huge
that's a good
role-playing fans. So we got the small little Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
ooh,
one.
yeah.
Just the thing. We played it for like 10 minutes. I think I played Borderlands 1 and 2 when it came out, and I loved them. Honestly, to me, Borderlands is just one of those series that didn't evolve with everything else. To me, to go back, it's probably like playing the old Gears of War 2. Like, I don't think enough has changed, but so many other games have gotten better that Borderlands to me is just too simplified, too stagnant. You know, the UI is confusing.
You're saying that to somebody who's actively planning her third birthday in a row involving some sort of Left 4 Dead 2 tournament.
Well, but
thing.
Left 4 Dead is different.
On.
Okay, but Left 4 Dead is great because Left 4
That's
Dead is
true.
one of those that as it gets older, like Back 4 Blood came out and I enjoy it and we play it, but to like it adds stuff, but doesn't make the Left 4 Dead formula better or different because the Left 4 Dead formula is not timeless, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like perennial. Like it's when they got it, they locked it in, did 2 games, and they were like, "This is how you do it." No, it aged very well. Yeah.
Oh, I still play it. I was playing it literally last night, so
I'm impressed. You actually did that run where you got through or whatever. What was the achievement you unlocked?
The real deal.
Which is
that is you have to play realism expert, and holy hell, that's something fierce.
You did it, right?
It took the entire day. Like we're talking like 14, 15, 16 hours, like the entire day.
Can I just say, how cool is Erica that she spent her last birthday playing Left 4 Dead?
Pandemic party, baby!
But it was just the one act, wasn't it?
It was the same thing over and over and over again. Try not to die this time. And we had to change campaigns a couple of times because we weren't getting it for the other ones. Just we couldn't. So we had to force it with one thing.
So this year you're going to do the other campaigns as well.
I have to do one achievement that I've never done since I have achievements as old as 2012 and earlier, like some
Is it the
around
gnome?
there. No, I have that one. It's the main attraction where you beat the concert finale without getting off the stage. I don't know what it is, but I can't do it, and it's driving me crazy. So that's going to be this year.
It's just because it's too tough? I remember that. I remember the concert part.
It's also like I don't want to do it on easy because that's going to be no point in getting it. So I had to do a level of difficulty that's actually possible to do. But also I don't want to bring too many bots with me because they just fly off the stage. Who cares?
But they do like heal you vigorously. That's the nice thing about bots. They're like, I'll sacrifice myself to heal you.
I thought that's all they were going to do. But apparently they lay so much cover fire down because I've been playing 2-player with my friend for a while. And like we've been doing really, really well. But the second I brought in 3 bots to round out a full team just for practice, everything around me died. I'm like, oh my god, this game is so easy just because they help you.
Sorry, friend, I have this. I'm gonna do it.
This is telling me that I need more friends to join in and help me murder some zombies, which is why
the bots are better.
There you go. You're gonna have some.
There's like the you don't have to be very good at the game in order to play with her.
I see.
The bots are.
Well, there you go. Well, either way, I'm in. I was going to be in last year, but something came up. So count me in. I'm a badass Left 4 Dead player. Joe and I will start practicing now.
Joe, get in this.
Left 4 Dead player.
Get in.
We played it that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do it.
It is so much fun.
It'll be awesome. Anyway, that's just the
media roundup.
What's going on in the media roundup? I guess without further ado. Oh, I should say, Gary. So you were off a few weeks ago. To let you know what happened is after this team turned in the mission to Medline of who they thought Robert Thompson was, and then before they went out, she basically said, I suspected him too, but I want you guys to look into something a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. I fear that the Lion's Head, which is the sort of military group that moved into the island a few months back, has a spy in town that is actively working against her goals. And she said, this is sort of the big. She's like, I kind of put you on Robert Thompson as a test. This is the real thing. I need you to find out who in town is actively working against us. And she's revealed that the Lion's Head sort of came through and stayed in the town of Hythe 2 months back. Made a few friends, but she ended up having to boot them out because they were becoming a little bit too much. So that is sort of the secondary thing. Obviously, the characters can explain it to you in character, but then that way you're not actually needing vital information as we go. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, another 25 minutes in this game. God, I love it. Let's do this Hereafter. You stand in the dark, dank pit. The hag nowhere to be seen. In the small cage on the floor, you see the figure of Robert Thompson, the owner of the Worthy Journey. He's dirty, disheveled, and he pushes himself back against the edge of the cage, frightened at what he just witnessed. You each have a moment of respite.
That was scary. I did the medicine check on Robert Thompson, and I think he's all right.
Yeah, he's fine. At this point, you sort of look at him. He's just kind of got wide eyes. You see him. He's got sort of a thick mustache, a bald head. He's human. His clothes are tattered, sort of dirty, as if he's been crawling in the mud. And he sort of has a stern look on his face.
He's like he's conscious and everything. Like he's fully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is he doing right now?
At this point, he's just sort of back against the cage, just watching everything. There's sort of just a moment, like a lull, since everything that transpired.
Do a perception check on his cage to make sure it's not gonna blow up and murder me if I try to open it.
Yeah, it's one of those blow-uppy cages. Yeah, give me a perception check.
I got a 9.
Boom. You're dead. No, it's not a blowy-uppy cage. It's just a great normal cage. It's actually fashioned of bones. Like large
Of the previous
animals
prisoners?
No, like massive bones you don't recognize.
Oh.
Like to us, the players, it would look like almost elephant bones, you know, thick.
Very fancy. I'm a little bit concerned because I don't know a lot about hags. And I would say that Sal doesn't, and I as a person do not know a lot about hags. But it seems a little odd to me that somebody who's willing to escape and unleash themselves onto the world kept a prisoner and kept that prisoner alive. So does anybody get like an odd feeling about this? Is anyone else concerned?
Brea approaches the cage and she spits on the ground. She says, I don't know what kind of horrors you endured to be alive here in this pit alongside that thing as its captive, but it's possible you deserved them. Are you Robert Thompson?
And his face, sort of this like scared, angry expression sort of dissolves to realization of who you are. You know, at first maybe he thought he was just lucky because he didn't recognize you. And he's just like, yeah, I'm Robert Thompson. Did Madeline send you?
She did.
His voice is hoarse, as if he's been screaming for hours. Look, and he walks up, crawls up to the bars, you know, it's like a small cage, and he wraps around looking up at you. And you can kind of see that his eyes search the darkness for you. It's very dim in here, and you all have dark vision,
Yeah,
whereas
you got weak human eyes.
yeah, he doesn't. He's kind of like looking for you, not entirely sure. Like all he's heard is this terrible battle.
Are those lanterns or the braziers?
Yeah, there's torches, but it's like very
Okay.
dim, flickering
Okay.
light. You know, it's not like. Besides, so many of your figures are dark, you know, cloaked in stuff that I'm sure you sort of just disappear in the background. He says, "Listen, I didn't do it. It was Davis. Please don't bring me back to her. Just let me out of here."
Like, do we as characters know what he's talking about, right? Because, like, the explosion, I think fucking Garrus will just be like, what exactly didn't you do, friend?
Yeah.
And he'll open his eyes real wide to see if he looks more imposing in the darkness.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't want anybody to get hurt, okay? Davis saw the door in the old man's basement, the temple basement. He came to the Worthy Journey, trying to buy dynamite, and I knew something was weird. So I asked him what he was using it for. And he didn't tell me right away, and I threatened him a little bit. Sure, I shouldn't have done that, but then he told me. Look, the plan was to keep the father out. To keep him at the bar. Basewind's place. And all he had to do was sneak in, use one stick of dynamite on the door, and that would be it. Next thing I know, there's not one explosion, but 2 explosions. And the father, I couldn't get him either. He's back in there. Dead, I'm sure now. And then those things come out, start killing everybody. I'm no fighter. I tried to hang on the outskirts. And then when I realized they were going to figure out that I was helping him, I left, okay? That's all Meduline would have done anyway. She would have exiled me, okay? Now, listen. You seem like a nice creature, he says to you, Garrus, like confused.
You'll growl a bit.
The hag didn't want it. Over there. And he points to the bars at like one of the tables. He's like, 400 gold pieces. That's what I brought with me. I'll give you half. Take half of it.
Okay.
Wait, Thompson, how come the hag didn't want it?
I don't know. She said she has no need for golds.
I was just kidding.
I'm a little. I don't trust what he's saying
Nah,
because in the explosion, the chaos, it would have been so easy to just blame the other guy and say he was working alone. You don't have the ability to check that. So for him to still run off after all that.
Additionally, we have evidence that contradicts what he's saying.
Also
we found
that too.
the note that he wrote to what's his name, Davis, right? We don't need to tell him that. I would rather not tip off everything that we know. Just be like, hey, Meduline wants you. We're gonna take you in, right? He's sticking to his story. Let him talk as much as he wants, but.
So we're bringing him back is the plan.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I think so.
Kala,
Yeah.
you were making noises about not really trusting Meduline 2 episodes ago, which I'm curious how Kala's feeling about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't trust her, but at the same time, like, we're working for her right now, and, I'm fine with the current arrangement, at least, or Kala, rather.
That may be so. And how do you come to reside here in this pit, Robert Thompson?
I ran. I ran when I knew that I was going to be responsible. 200 gold. Look, if you bring that back, Meduline's just going to add it to the town coffer. It's going to be used for walls. You're not going to get any dime of that.
The trap
Give me
door
half, and you can
was
take half.
closed.
What?
The trap door was closed.
Yeah.
So did he close it behind him? Did the hag who immediately escaped close it behind her? I'm wondering. I feel like there are cahoots being had and are surrounding.
Did what close it behind her?
Did the hag?
No, the trap door is still
this?
open right now. You guys
No.
opened it and
when
came
we
in.
came in, we opened it, but
Yeah.
he's already in here. So
In a
who
cage.
closed it after he came in? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think what happened, the turn of events, is that he got captured trying to escape by the hag, right? Like he. So when we tracked him, right, and there was 2 ways to go, and he was unsure which way, and he finally just decided to go to the
And
the
he
window,
tells you
even though
as
he knew
much.
it wasn't safe.
Yeah. So
Then he got captured.
Sorry, I missed.
Yeah, I asked him
I missed
what
to
happened.
reveal
was
that piece of
there.
information. Yeah.
And I think he got mixed up in it, and it was
Yeah.
just
He tells you as
like
much.
a
He tried to
coincidence.
leave town.
Yeah.
He couldn't follow Ellis, Lawrence Ellis, and then sort of got caught in the middle, and then decided to run to this place with his money, and ended up getting captured by the creatures, and
Jacked
the
by a
hag was
hag.
going to do something with him. Yeah.
So are we really just dealing with somebody who was in it for the gold? Is that really what this is? Oh.
He doesn't appear to have many scruples anyway.
That's refreshing. Well,
And what would you say if we told you that we would take the whole amount of gold for ourselves and still bring you to Meduline?
Well, then I tell her that you took the money.
All right.
Would she? What?
Kala says that's fair and picks up the cage.
Cage is very big. But he's like a very wiry man. Like, you can easily take him.
She was
Kala will
not
take him.
concerned about the money
Oh, she will be.
that you stole.
If she knows that you took 400 of the gold that could have come back to her, to the town, to help with all that they need, she won't trust you.
Right.
And what would you have done with 400 gold in country like this?
I'd
Bought
go to,
what?
I'd go to the Lion's Head. They were nice when they came by. They're east of here. 200 gold. Hell, you can come with me. I don't care.
Question.
Answer.
And I don't know if our group would like to hunt
Yeah,
her
side
in the
huddle.
corner.
Yeah, side huddle. I was about to say that because yes, there's an opportunity here, right?
Yeah.
He knows the Lion's Head, which means he could lead us to the man if we play ball with him. So maybe we play ball with him to get in on the secret Lion's Head, you know.
But would he play ball with us? Like,
Or we
he
kill him
seems
and
like
take the money and say that he was dead?
We could do that too. We could say we
Oh,
found our
right,
poor
but that
friend.
won't. But which is fine. I'm happy to take the money. But what I mean to say is, we won't get. Maybe he could give us a hint as to who in the town is the secret.
I'd like to go
you know,
meet
Lion's
the
Head
Lion's
member.
Head.
You want to just go there first and
I
then
want to
figure
go
it out
there.
that way?
Let's just team up. Let's just switch sides for a little bit. See what they're like. Come on back.
That's cool. We'll have to give him the 200 then.
Well, we can always take it from them later.
That's true. I'm just saying, like that, we'd have to split it. You know.
Yes, and
that
I
be
would
the good
also
faith
I would also like to think
payment.
that if Meduline herself has any issues with this, I mean, that's 200 gold for the cost of getting rid of a lot of interlopers that she's had problems with for quite some time. I think that's a fair price.
We don't even have to report back to Meduline if we don't want to.
That's
We can
true.
Just go to the Lion's Head with Thompson.
You don't know
Let's
anybody
keep our options
anything.
open.
Yeah. So we have that. That is a lane that we can take if we want to. Like, so yes, it's clear to take if we want to take it. So that's option 2, I guess, or 3.
I would also just offer it as an option for anyone in our group who had expressed interest in staying here and beginning a new life to take the time to survey the land. This is a perfect chance to see who you'll be living with. Explore it.
A hag.
Good.
I have
Banshee
for one.
upstairs.
And Banshee so far, let's see what the Lion's Head is like and they have.
Banshee's neighborly, the hag not so much.
They had a
But I
good
think the
roommate
hag will be
situation for a
back, right?
while.
Yeah, it was like bosom buddies.
Is the hag more powerful than the Banshee? Is that what we got from what the Banshee was saying? Or just that the
You don't
Banshee
know.
was kind of like, I'm chilling out up here?
Yeah,
chilling.
you don't know.
So what are people's thoughts on
Well, okay.
I love this, by the way. I encourage you all to discuss.
The problem
I-
that I'm having with Robert Thompson is that he has already demonstrated through the explosion and the stealing of the gold and the running away that he's not a trustworthy dude.
Right.
So
Not at all.
if we give him money and say take us to blah 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 place, what is the likelihood that he's going to backstab us and take the other 200 gold eventually?
Well,
or at
50%.
least, right?
We could put it to him
Because
like,
we've
okay,
only had one encounter with him, and he was duplicitous. So we have not had another encounter where he was not. Right.
we can
And
say it's
given-
payment for us escorting him to the Lion's Head.
Right. But
Or we
given
can give him the
chance-
200 when we arrive. Like, not even give him the money. Like, just hang on to it until we get there safely, and then at that point we can give him the
Yeah.
money.
You're saying given the chance he'll do what, Joe?
Well, just that
He
when
may
we
betray us,
arrived
yeah.
and we said, "Hey, are you Robert Thompson? Like, we think you're kind of a bad guy. What's going on?" I mean, he lied to us to hopefully slither away. Although we don't really know what law and order is like in this civilization, do we? Like,
It's the Wild West.
Exile.
Dum,
Yeah,
dum. I used to have that. I used to have that queued
Frontier
up.
Law.
Sorry, honey. I mean, he could just be trying to save. There we go.
Hey, good job.
He could just be trying to save his skin, right? If he knows that going back to Medline means that she's going to hang him, then I would say anything to try to get away too.
Well,
I
can
wouldn't
we
be too concerned
check?
about the 200 gold. I'd be like, take whatever you want. I just let me go. You know what I mean? So the fact
but
that
I
he's
might-
like,
I might-
but I want the money.
But I do trust his survival instinct. You know.
Oh, yeah.
So that may. And we do understand he was wishy-washy about escape, and so we get a little bit about his personality. So, like, he may be enough of a coward that we could just handle him.
If
He-
we
Like, that
let
he's not so slick that he's gonna like take all
For
our,
sure.
our stuff in the night while we're camping, and like, I didn't get that impression anyway yet.
we
Depends on if
let
he has
him
any
go-
pull or not with Lion's Head.
Oh, can we
Yeah.
use an insight to figure that out? To figure out how shrewd he might be? Maybe he's trying to. How slick is he? Like, you know.
Sure.
And I want to hear what Brea thinks about letting him go, because that was very intriguing.
Insight 17. So I'm
So what do
looking
you
into
ask
the
him?
heart of this man.
Yeah, so
And
give me
I
a question
wanna-
that you ask him so I can tell you how you receive it.
Okay,
Ask
I
him?
ask him if he knows anybody in town that is affiliated with the Lion's Head.
In
And I
our
watch for
town?
his response.
In Hythe? In Hythe?
Yes, in Hythe. Yeah.
Okay. He
And
goes,
I watch him closely when I say that. You know,
yeah, and he does one of these.
which way does he look, right or left?
He looks at you. This is acting. Watch. This is what he
Yeah,
does. You ready? He goes. That's him saying no. See how he looked up.
It's like
That's
that
acting
game
for you.
LA Noire. Oh,
Yeah, I was
Thank you.
taking
That was
inspiration.
acting
Harlan.
lessons. That was acting lessons. You like?
Whoa.
I'm here all week.
Yeah, that was like LA Noire. I had no, and I could never figure. I never was able to play that game. I could
I
never
never
figure
played
out
it.
whether they were lying or not. I just couldn't.
I
do
played it but got really bored because you have to like do all the rules of the road. I was like, oh, it's like Grand Theft Auto without the fun.
because you're a cop. Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm concerned that if we let him go, we let him, show us to this other settlement, that Medline is never going to she won't get past that, right? That we took the job and then reneged on our responsibilities.
Yeah, it's. I mean, but we're not responsible to Hythe. Like we,
No.
you know,
And
not
that's
necessarily.
also if we never return or if we fail. If we succeed, we come back, beg for forgiveness, better than asking for permission now and having her say no.
It's also the only town that you've experienced within a certain entire continent.
Look, if we plan to go back, we'll bring the Lion's Head with us.
Exactly.
It's not an
Not a
actual
stick.
lion's head.
I know. I was being
We'll
poetic.
find one.
but,
Kind of
yeah.
awesome if it was though.
But
yeah,
she
it's,
asked us to investigate, like, who's with the Lion's Head. If we go to them, that's still technically within our purview of, like, well, we were just doing our job. What was I would do? So she can be mad.
She can't legally.
Also, Garrus never actually shook on anything with her because he wasn't here to, right?
So
he
Garrus
doesn't
can
actually-
be the
his
rogue
paladin-
one here.
His paladin, like,
I just suggested we go to the Lion's Head. Sound like a nice group of guys.
Sounds like a pub.
I think also among us, among the four of us, we have enough offenses against each of the individuals in that town. One of them is short of tongue. One of them does not like me very much. Another is, well, running around slightly more enthusiastic about axe murder than usual, which we appreciate the enthusiasm, Carla, but have noticed it. Brea, I think you're the only one with clean hands, but you were the reason we're here at all, and that was by less than clean means. I think we could say that we have enough cause to switch sides, and then coming back to prove that we were loyal after all would be enough to buy our way back in. They can't choose help. They have no other help.
You're not wrong. And Joe,
These are all
the
good
player, likes to stay on the straight and narrow, but Brea, and this is the first time I'm playing someone who's got morals that are a little bit like...
Oh, really?
Loosey-goosey. Yeah. So normally I would definitely be the one who's championing, like, no,
First
we have this
time.
job, we're going back with the prisoner, not taking the money, we'll hand it over, blah, blah, blah. But I'm kind of excited for this to be an opportunity for me to be like, well, we'll either kill the prisoner and take the money, or we'll go and see what this other civilization is all about.
It's not that like, I wouldn't say that we're being immoral, you know, like in this instance. I would say that we, you know,
What is moral?
What is moral?
yeah,
This new land.
only because it's a job. It's not, you know, nobody's life is depending on it. Although I probably have to go back and get my dog at some point.
Oh,
When I
yes.
go back, it's going to be an adult dog. Have eaten the whole town.
Who are you?
That would be quite the offense.
Oh, the dog won't
But yeah.
remember you. It'll sniff you and then bark, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
Your little tail start wagging.
Yeah,
Aww.
that'll be a fun reunion. But
It'll
yeah,
be like
so
one of those videos of like a dog that meets the owner at the airport.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell Sal to stay wild-shaped as a dog so I don't feel lonely.
That's fair.
Like, just stay a direwolf.
But I
but,
feel like there's enough
what do you guys wanna
reason
do?
for us to do this. I'd like to do this. I'd like to temporarily switch sides, investigate. Again, Kyla wasn't the only one who was throwing some suspicion at Meduline. Sal also was a little bit, I'll go along with it if everyone else goes along with it.
Yeah.
So
If I have
the only,
to.
Yeah. The only word
Yeah.
he really has against the Lion's Head is from Meduline and her town. And
I guess if I had to sum up Kala's like suspicion, she got very politician-y. Meduline got, and as soon as that happened, you know, Kala started not trusting her as much.
Yeah,
Like, she
so-
was a little too about the angles and making and controlling information. As soon as people start to censor and control information, Kala got nervous. I think I remember what it was like. That conversation we had with her didn't sit well with her.
I think
According
Garrus is
to-
completely
Go
different. Oh, I just think Garrus is, because of his recent exploits with Cole, now feels more attachment to that town. And like
His
Cole
exploits
speaks highly of
to Cole.
Meduline. So I don't know.
that's why we'll stress the temporarily. We're just going to look. Meduline may turn out to have proven herself true for every word.
According
He
to
can
Meduline,
deal with
she
that.
Sorry, Joe?
Sorry, go ahead.
Meduline said that these people came into Hythe and were like fucking shit up, and she had to ask them to leave because they were causing so much trouble, and that people are now becoming ill since they left. She said Reese thinks it's nutritional, but she doesn't think so, and suspects that there are Hythe citizens like in Hythe who are working for the Lion's Head essentially. So to me, this Lion's Head seems like I don't know, it's being set up as the villain to me.
We should get our side of the
very
story, I
likely.
suppose.
Right. I mean,
However-
Meduline could just be making all that shit up. We don't have any information that would.
Oh,
Yeah,
Suppose
and maybe
that.
the Lion's Head are terrible people, but we like them.
or just as
know.
possible,
I'm just saying.
perhaps there's some third group involved. We just arrived here. We don't know everyone involved.
The Lion's Tail.
Perhaps?
The
Any
lion's
other
little tummy.
Barefoot.
some other
The
kind of
lamb's
animal.
We are the lion's tummy. Rub it.
I know that the Banshee had said something about waiting for the darkness to return, and these are people who adopted the land around a very ancient temple. Perhaps the poison came from within the town itself.
Maybe.
So
I say we go.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but Kala's like,
He's a pussy.
So do we take the money and bring him back? Or just like
take the money and run.
whatever we want to do. We could even as soon as we see the Lion's Head town, like in the distance, we could just kill him and
cut his head off?
cut his head, bring them his. for just because. I just mean to say that like sky's the limit, folks. Like we can,
Right
what do you guys
now,
wanna do?
Sal has what he wants from this land, which is wonderful. This wonderful mossy gem. So he's happy to donate whatever his expected cut of this gold would be back towards the town when we return.
If we return.
Damn it! I was hoping that was exactly the part where it goes, "Go on, take the money and run." So, what's the consensus?
Let's take this lily-livered scumbag to Lion's Head.
Lion's Head.
Lion's Head.
that-
So that's 2 for Lion's Head.
But then he's just gonna fucking disappear. He's gonna, I don't know. The ranks will close in around him.
Maybe, and maybe we'll have to kill them all. I don't know.
Well,
I'm just saying. Like,
Actually, that's an excellent point. Can we ask him and see if he's being honest about being friends with them or on good terms? Maybe he's just
Sure.
taking a blind run into their arms.
Sure.
That's what I got.
currently
He was
fighting
just
for
kind
his
of
life,
fleeing.
so he'll say anything at this point.
So, who asks him?
I stick my hand through the bars and I grab him and I bring his face to the bars and I say, "What is the name of your contact in the Lion's Head?" In his face.
Where are your drugs heading? Yeah, give me an intimidation roll.
Can I help him with that intimidation roll? Garrus will stand behind him going like,
Oh, I got an 18.
never mind.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you grab him and you pull him against the bars, and you say, "What is the name of your contact in the?"
Yeah, the Lion's Head, I guess. Who do you know in the Lion's Head?
Yeah, and he's like, I knew a Dakin. I knew Dakin. He might be interested.
A Dakin? You said a Dakin?
Dakin.
Like
Dakin.
Like deacon or Dakin?
Dakin. D-A-Y-K-I-N.
Dakin the Deacon.
Oh, okay.
What's a Dakin?
We were talking about a father a while ago. Could have also been a deacon around. I don't know.
Definitely.
Whose money is this, Robert?
Oh, good question. Good question.
It's mine.
And whose was it before yours? I know how these things work.
What do you want me to say? It was investors, people who...
Where did you get it from?
I got it from a number of different places.
Enlighten me.
People back home who believed in me. People in town who wanted to store their money with us. But not much of it. We're talking under 50 gold.
Somehow he's amassed 400. Okay.
Most of it is my own. Look, I own the only general store in this part of the land. People make a lot of transactions through me, believe it or not.
I don't know why, but I believe him.
I hope that's Kala's new voice. She just hit puberty. She just hit puberty for some reason.
I'm an adult puffin now.
So Garrus will be like, so how much? Okay, how much was in investments? How much was not? This is money in exchange for a service. How much did you fucking steal?
I didn't steal any of it. Look, people needed things at times. Then they owed me money. Certain people had money and they didn't. We don't have a bank, okay? So sometimes I would hold on to money. Like I said, it was no more than 50 gold, maybe 60 max. I came over here with almost 1,000 gold of my own money. I helped invest in people. I bought materials from Nebula, or Nenduna, sorry. Look, I did my service in that fucking town, okay? I made my shot at it. And if Davis hadn't fucked it up, everything would be fine. Say what you want, but nothing that we did was intended to hurt people.
New thought. If they hate him, we'll just take his gold and buy our way in. Then we don't need him anymore. So we only need to keep them for as long as we see the city. And if they don't like him, or we get the sense that he will not be well received, we don't need him.
And if the Lion's Head doesn't like it, I'll just drop kick their leader.
Yeah.
Many options.
Sident.
So I say we go with him to as far as the Lionhead as we can trust ourselves to watch him. And should we decide that he will not be a useful invitation into the ranks, we'll just take the gold and use that as an invitation instead.
Garrus looks uneasy at that. He's trying to be as holy as possible, and it's like, I'm going to investigate for Meduline. That's how I'm going to frame it, so I can go.
And we can always take time to get that gold back.
Yes, we can. He's like, yes, I can deal with that. Yes, that makes perfect sense. Let's fucking go. Should we search the room?
Yeah, you take a look around. You find some odd stones.
Go for souvenirs.
Yeah, you find some odd stones that don't look too... I mean, you spend like an hour in here, so I'm not going to make you roll. You're just looking through everything. You find some odd stones. They're sort of a dark opal. They sort of have a greenish hue to them when you hold them up to the firelight. You're not sure what they're worth. Not very much, maybe 15 gold apiece, and you find 4 of them. And then you find the sack of 400 gold coins.
I'm going to have to lick one of the rocks because I'm not sure if it's a rock or dung.
Yeah, do it. Lick it. Lick it.
Okay. What would it be?
Gonna be an insanity roll.
Oh,
It's gotta
what's
be
that?
one of the
Roll your
wolf's
sanity.
teeth.
No, yeah, you just lick it, and it tastes like really old petrified dung, but it's delicious, and you like it, and you're gross. No, it's just look at you. It's just a rock.
So
Okay.
he said that Davis bought dynamite from the general store.
He said Davis tried to buy dynamite from the general store, and that he pressured him into telling him why, and then the two of them concocted the plan to blow the thing open together and split it 50-50.
Just trying to get like money or whatever shit they thought was down there.
Yeah, like you ask him. Yeah, he's like, Davis said he
yeah.
saw something valuable down there. Had I known the idiot would just get himself killed, I would never have bothered. Obviously.
Right.
Did you find anything down there?
I didn't even go in there. There was an explosion. I was at Basewind's place. Then we all ran out to the street to see these creatures pouring out of the temple. I barely got away with my life. I ran to the outskirts. Basewind lost his brother. 7 people died. We barely survived till morning. And then at first light, I left with Ellis.
I mean, you had enough time to gather 400 gold.
I grabbed it and ran. It was the most important thing to me. Can you blame me? I thought I was starting a new life, not being in some fucking hag's cavern.
Cool. Well, we'll take 200 for sure.
Then you'll give me the other 200.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me out.
Forever.
What?
Forever. You can have it forever.
Well, good. Hey,
We'll give it to you tomorrow.
You promised to me now. Let me out of here. And he, like, shakes the cage.
You're going to the
You all
Lion's
seem
Head,
very
you said?
quiet and uneasy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Garrus will ask him, is he going to the Lion's Head?
Yeah, that general direction.
You know the way.
No.
Then where the fuck were you
By the
going?
moment.
To the Lion's Head. I'm gonna run east. No one knows where they are. Why do you think I stopped at an abandoned windmill? If I knew the way, wouldn't I be there by now?
So you...
I know they're east of here. I'm gonna try to find them.
Okay.
Right.
Actually, Kala, I get it. I get it. Yeah, so can we let him out? Do we need a key or can I just break the bones?
Yeah, you can just. Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, you break the bones.
Yeah, just snap them open.
Yeah,
And I say, "Come on!" And I
feels
push his
very-
back. I push him. I put him. I leave him in front of me. I'm gonna be his handler. And
Yeah, he's like,
I'm
"Come
just,
on,
I'm
come
just
on."
always pushing him in front of me.
He's like, "What did I do to you? What are you being a jerk for? Come on, where's the gold?
And I
you
start
promised
pushing
the
him
gold."
east.
And he starts.
You'll
yelling.
get the gold when we arrive at the Lion's Head. You see, you weren't forthcoming with the information. You weren't forthcoming with some information either, and now you must earn it. And I push his face into the ground, and I start tracking for east to see where people.
Well, you're
actually
still like
went.
underground. Like he's like 5 feet. From
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
cage.
I was already
he's like,
imagining
East
that
is
we already
up.
left.
Yeah. And he's like on the
Nick,
ground.
no,
He's
it's
like,
okay.
he's like, you're not even gonna give me the gold. You just promised me you're gonna give me the gold. What
Yeah,
what
I
the
said
fuck is this?
you'll earn it by finding the lion's head. That's what I
We
said.
are going as a group. The gold is with us. We all have the gold, and we will split it when we arrive.
50-50, like you said. Or 70-30, as you said.
It's dangerous. We're gonna die. At least give me a knife or something.
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't like that. I don't like the knife.
Kala gives him the berserker axe.
In the back.
I would never. He can't even look at that. It's covered. He doesn't get to see it.
Yeah, he like turns to you, Kala.
saw
He's
it when
like,
I fought with
Give
it,
me a
but then it's
dagger or
like-
something I can protect myself with. There's
That's
things
fair.
up there.
I'm not
Did
the
you
best.
not come with a dagger?
Do you see me with the dagger?
So you willingly
gold.
grabbed 400 gold and no
I
dagger
don't have
and
a
ran,
weapon. I followed Ellis to meet Lion's Head.
and you'll follow us to Lion's Head.
Yes. But give
How
me a
big are
weapon.
how big are the cage bones? And are they in like? Can we just pick one up like a stick and be like,
Yeah,
"There you
sure.
go."
Yeah. You give it to him. He's like, fine.
No. I actually, I'm gonna give him a weapon. I take one of my short swords out.
No.
Yeah.
Flip it around in my hand, and I catch
Yeah.
the blade.
Cool.
And then I say you better know how to use this. If we get
And
into
you
trouble.
give it to him with like a straight face when you're trying to hide the blood in your hand. You're like, here, drink this. I'm totally fine.
I lick it.
Yeah, and he takes
lick
it.
the blood
He's
off my
like
hand.
very, very inexperienced, obviously, like wobbles in his hand. He's like, okay, fine.
That's fine. I mean, I could tell right away from the way he's handling that sword that he doesn't know what he's doing. So he's
Or
gonna
he's
just
acting like
really
he does.
good
Faking
at fucking
it. He
acting.
might be
Yeah, I
faking
mean,
it.
if he's that good, he should just get the Oscar. He's like Leo at this point. Like, just get the Oscar.
And he like
Thank
stops
you,
you before you climb the ladder. And
too
he's
good.
like, you promise me. You give me your word. I get half that gold.
I give you
Yes.
my word.
If we find the lion's head and survive, you will be richer.
And you don't try to stab us with
As
your
I'm
new
pushing
toy.
his butt up the ladder.
And he looks to you, Bria. He's like, you give me your word.
Absolutely.
All right. And he turns and starts climbing up the ladder.
Can we visit the Banshee before we go?
If you
Yeah.
want. Yeah.
Just
But
she-
you want to check if she wants anything from the store?
So
Just go. Just
She
do
probably
whatever
was
you
a
want.
lion
She
head.
was like, the evil one's downstairs. I'm not gonna bother with it. But we'd be like, oh, she fucking.
Yeah, we should
was
just let her
gone.
know what happened so she knows that her neighbor's gone.
Yeah, so
Let's
like
take
Yeah.
it
a
downstairs.
timid Garrus walks in, like hands
Just like-
together, speaks
Just,
to Mama Banshee.
I just thought I'd let you know, not to bother you, if that's what I'm indeed doing. We went downstairs, took care of herself down there. Now I can't say we killed her because we didn't. She did run away.
She like turns around with like the least give a fuck stare ever. She's like,
All right, so you don't give a shit. You just all right. Well, good day to you. And he'll head back down.
yeah, and she turns back around.
I
Cool.
feel like Sal is pretty happy with Freya's response at the end, that last one. And I think as they go up, he might mention to her, if we live to regret this, that gem is yours. Fair's fair.
Ooh. Except no one gives a fuck about the gem more than Sal.
I know. Sounds like my gem.
And
Counts!
yo, but the funniest fucking thing is the gem's not even Sal's. He just like he's like listen.
Give you
He's like, listen, this
treasure.
gem that we all found together. If we don't live through it, it's yours. It's like, hold on.
First
Aren't
of
you
all-
just putting yourself in the position of already assuming it's yours and then offering it to me? It's like some like nothing offer.
It's like when your dog brings you your own sock and is like,
I
look
did
what I
good.
have got
You're
for
like,
you.
Until
it's my
he
sock,
brought
though.
it, you didn't have your sock. So, who's the real hero?
Yeah, that's true. I did not have that sock at that time.
Until Garrus found the gem and landed it to Sal. I can't remember who found it, but someone else found it too. I think it was
me,
Brea.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I
it was
think it
Garrus.
was.
Yeah, it was like,
And
hey,
then
check out this. She's like,
Sal was real into it. so
mine
it's like,
now.
Yeah.
there you
I
go.
didn't find it.
No, she was like mine, and then she was like, Can I split it into many pieces?
This is like, but
Can I break it?
she's like, can I break it into many? He's like, can I break it into many pieces for my friends back home? Not even like for you. He's like, I want to break this up for the other people that aren't here that I haven't seen for 6 months.
I'm gonna cut it into 4 equal pieces. Looking
That's
around
where
at the
my
4 of us.
loyalties lie.
And she's like, for 4 other people.
You
Obviously.
people who don't do anything. This is like the One Ring.
He says
Sal's
way
version
lamer.
of the One Ring.
we turned her to him in
Except
the middle of the
nobody
night,
wants
and
it.
he's like holding it.
Yeah.
We'll go back to you someday.
Instead of everybody wanting it,
Creating-
nobody wants
I mean, it's very valuable. It's just not like anyway. So
Yeah, I don't have a problem with deceiving this guy and then just
Oh,
taking
no.
all of his money and killing him.
it. Yeah.
Do you say that out loud?
No, but Sal, she gives me like a wink, like, "Oh, I'm glad that you said that." And Bryce like already doesn't care.
Cool. And you head out to the open flats. There's sort of like a moment where Robert sort of looks towards the town on the horizon and shakes his head and sort of points to the east. And you see it's sort of on the edge of a large wood, similar to the one that you approached from the south towards the town, but thinner at first at least. There's no leaves on any of the trees here. And he starts walking towards it.
How
We travel with
closely? Yeah. How close are we following?
No, I'm right behind him. Like I said, I'm his
Yeah.
handler. Like
Should we
where
put
he
some of
goes,
our
I
own-
go. He doesn't pee alone. He doesn't nothing. I'm like his prison guard, right? Like that's how I'm handling him. And also, I'd like to track Survival 20.
Nice.
Track and see, because people travel east, right? He knows people come and go, so maybe I can find the path, the trail,
Sure.
the way that people take.
Very few people come and go. From what you know, and again, this is the extent of the travel you understand, is that the Lion's Head moved in from the south, stayed for 2 months, or stayed 2 months ago, and then left towards the east. And as far as you know, that's all he knows as well. The only other person that you know that went this way was Lawrence Ellis when they were going to get help. And they ran more northernly before turning east.
Cool.
But this guy's just leading you east. Whether that's better or worse.
But he's not. I'm going to check and because he said he doesn't know. So
Yeah,
I'm
so
gonna
you're
check
checking
and
for
see.
tracks? There's nothing. There's like nothing.
There's nothing. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Furthermore,
then
with your
we just
natural
go
20, you
east,
can
it's
tell.
fine.
Furthermore, with your natural 20, you can tell this guy doesn't know.
Oh, isn't it a
fucking
natural
anything.
20?
He's like
Dirty.
barely good at finding.
Oh, dirty
east.
20 either way.
Dirty
I mean,
20, yeah.
you don't even need to roll on this Khaled. This was a guy who you already tracked. You saw him following Lawrence, slow down, turn around, turn back, and then go to the abandoned windmill. Like, this is a guy. He's a persuasive man. He's a charismatic person. Obviously not in your good graces right now, but he came here to be a traitor primarily. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So he's just like walking east. He like trips on a
he should
stone.
be paying us for the luxury of A, bodyguards, and B, pathfinders.
I mean,
to
you're the
get him
ones
to
that are
place.
doing this.
Yeah, well, Brea
He did pay us.
raises a eyebrow and
Yeah.
she's like,
You got conned.
I haven't been conned yet. Gold's still all with us.
Yeah, but he's getting away with bodyguards. How do you know that's not what he wanted?
We don't know if we can get in. So if he's
How do you know if
still
he even
chatter-
gives a shit about the gold?
Doesn't matter. I mush him. I
Yeah,
mush
he's
him and then I feed
going.
him some
He's
kibble.
walking.
It's enough
So,
of a risk of
Keep
winning.
walking.
You keep heading east. The hours go by. The sun high in the sky sort of begins to set in the late afternoon. Sal marches like a frickin' asshole for some reason. Just kidding, I love it. Yeah, you move. Darkness
Sal
comes
marching.
on quickly eventually, and you find yourself deep within the woods once again. These woods, similar to the woods of the south, have the ground littered with fallen leaves from eons ago, now defrosted 6 months ago with the great thaw. You see the tree trunks, the black wood reminiscent of the abandoned windmill you just left hours ago. You're now farther away from the town than you've been in the last few days, as well as farther than you were at that first homestead before you arrived in the town of Hythe. And as night begins to come on thick and inky black, you realize that you need to bed down for the night. I mean, you don't need to, but you guys haven't long rested, and you've battled, and it would be unwise to not.
What
Yeah.
And
are
you know that.
everyone's thoughts about tying him up?
No, I'll keep him warm. I'll keep him
Affirmative.
warm. I sleep with my arms around him.
Well, that works too, and we'll just throw in a little bit of extra rope to help you keep him nice and cuddly.
We can all
Yeah,
take
sure.
a watch maybe as
Yeah,
well.
if you guys,
Yeah.
I tie him up.
Yeah. And I think
I gingerly tie him up.
you find a spot in the copse of trees that sort of hides the light from any sort of pathway. There's no real rhythm or rhyme to the way the forests are. You imagine them once ancient and old, sort of as they were frozen. It's sad in a way to see the rotted trunks now, the blackened wood, wet with the thaw. And Robert actually puts together a fire pretty quickly, actually, surprisingly so. It's obviously not his survival instinct that does it. Maybe something more methodical, simple. Sets up the twigs and holds his hands close to it.
Really
The cold
shouldn't have
night
given
air
him
is
a
biting all of a sudden.
sword.
Is it
It'll be
still
fine.
very quiet? You know, no
Yes.
sounds of animals.
Yeah, and he notices you like kind of like looking around for a sound. He's like, "Yeah, you get used to it. Back home, it's all manner of creatures at night, crickets, birds, whatever. But not here. Dead silence, maddeningly deaf."
Why did you come here as a man who thrives on industry? And if I may be so bold, a selfish one at that.
He sort of scoffs at that. Well, I mean, I feel like the idea to come here, if I'm a man that thrives on industry, is obvious. And secondly, who are you to judge? You took half my gold. Look, and he stands up. Davis Strott is a man who was kicked off the last vessel. He was a no-good-nick. People helped him out when they could. Okay, I helped him too. He comes to me willing to blow a hole in the basement of the temple. I could have turned him in, yes. At the same time, this is new land. Are you telling me that none of you have taken anything of value since you arrived here? And he sort of looks to Sal, who I imagine hasn't been hiding the gem.
Sal will happily stroke the weird little gem
Yeah.
pet that he has, his little
And he
pet
takes
rock.
like a half step and
And-
he says, "Let me ask you seriously. Was that behind any sort of locked door or hidden compartment? Was that in a chest? Or was that just lying out in the open?"
It was very well hidden.
Okay, so
Unused.
and he turns to you, Brea. So where do I get this name calling from people who are doing literally the exact same thing? The difference is, yeah, unfortunately, some people died because I made a bad decision.
I would like to remind him that the 200 gold he claims we're taking was offered to us as part of a transaction.
Yeah, but you know that some of those people back in Hythe also gave me that money. I'm just saying, don't cast the first stone, because we are all plunderers here. And he gestures to the woods.
Thompson,
There's no person that's here right now that isn't
enough.
part of the problem.
Enough talking. Go to sleep now.
Look,
Learn my
you don't
lesson.
command me. I'm not your fucking dog, okay?
That's true. His dog is at
And he sits down sort of defiantly.
Excuse my curiosity.
No, I'm not saying you can't be curious, but I'm saying, am I wrong? Have you not taken things that didn't belong to you from here?
Everything belongs to me.
And
You
he
are
sort of
you are
looks
not in a
interested at
position.
that.
You are not in a
And he
position to
smiles at-
question your saviors. We
He
saved your life.
He smiles at what Brea said, ignoring Cala's anger. And he's like, okay, fair enough. Everything here belongs to you. But you, only a few minutes ago, said that I was the selfish one. Look, I am not saying I am better than you. What I am saying is that we are more similar than the four of you seem to think. And I don't take offense to that, because I'm aware of my own failures here. I never once said that I wanted anybody to die. And yeah, I regret it. I do.
We will see how similar we are when the beasts come in the night for us.
I'm not saying I could fight. What I'm saying is I'm not selfish.
What you should be saying is, I wonder what time I should be going to sleep because it will be a very tiring day tomorrow.
And he like scoffs.
And I get face to face on him. Like
Yeah, he's already
I'm
sitting.
gonna
He's
work.
just like,
Yeah, I know.
fine. And he like shakes his head and he rolls over and he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
I love Kala.
Thank you, Jesse.
I would
it.
like to take that time to hope dearly
Stroke
that he
your
finds
gem.
more things in common with Kala, because they're getting pretty physically aligned right now. And I also think I'd like to check myself, because I bit the hag some time ago. It was really
You're
gross.
fine. Don't worry. You're fine.
Okay.
You would have noticed. Yeah.
Okay,
you check
good.
your teeth at night. You're like, yeah, I'm fine.
Is
There's
there
no
anything,
bones.
nothing good about it? It's just blood?
Yeah, just like some weird black
Icky blood.
Some brackish blood.
Back to my gem then. Still winning.
So you just go down stroking your gem.
Brea's gonna take first watch. She's really unsettled by this interaction with Robert, by the interaction
Because it
with
was
the
so
hag.
true.
Yeah, man.
Does
Absolutely.
Brea acknowledge any of it?
No, she doesn't acknowledge it to him. To him, to her, he's, regardless of what kind of truth he might speak to her, she doesn't really care about him or,
Yeah, but
making
I'm
a
wondering,
relationship with this guy,
obviously,
being
player
like,
and
"Oh,
DM
so
aside.
true."
Player and DM aside, I want to know what he said was factually true. There's a
Yes.
lot of truth.
Yeah.
Like, he broke something open and people died, unfortunately, because of what came out. The same could have been said for you guys. When you open that secret door, monsters could have come out and they could have hurt people.
Whether
Well, what I want to see is, I'm curious how Brea, Sal, Garrus, and Kala feel about that realization.
it's what he's telling us is true, right? He's like, oh, I didn't know anything bad would come of it.
Of
I
course.
just thought blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas we know that our true intention was this town needs us right now, and we're going to labor under our best efforts, right, to try to protect these people. He was doing it out of, I want to get some stuff, maybe.
But why are you now bringing him to the Lion's Head? And what I'm hoping is a really neat, like, self-reflection moment, because essentially what he just hit you all with is exactly why you've just decided to take him, that you are in it for yourself. And what he's sort of saying is that's not wrong. What he's saying is he's just not different than you. And I'm just curious as if what Brea thinks of that. I think that's a really fascinating thought.
I think Brea, frankly, probably misspoke, or I misspoke on Brea's behalf, shall I say, by calling him selfish, right?
I think that was cool, though. No, because I
that
think it
was
totally makes
cool.
sense. Because it gave him the perfect opportunity to
For sure, but I don't
explain
think
why.
she would really care.
I don't think
know what I
that.
mean?
I think Brea
Maybe she was
much more.
fishing.
Yeah, but the amount that Brea debated between this, I think maybe what he said actually did weigh on her and go, shit, yeah. Because equally, from what you know, for the 5 months that he's been here, or however many months he's been here, he's been good up until this last thing. No different than you guys. Like, he's been helpful, and then he wasn't. And there's sort of a parallel here that I do think Brea would instinctively, because he does seem selfish, because it does seem selfish. But I think that's one of the cool things that I'm interested to see how everyone feels about as characters, obviously.
The sense that I got from that was that Brea was, trying to kind of put him in his place and try and be like, okay, we're going to draw the lines here, and that's the way to needle him. But I just like the fact that that was Brea's first thought of, this is the way to needle him. This is the thing that is bad. To call somebody selfish, that's the bad thing to be. So that was her first instinct. So to have it come back from him saying that being selfish, it's not necessarily that bad. It's not necessarily that different from what you're doing. So think about what you're saying when you go for that as your first line of attack. So I kind of like that kind of got flipped back so easily. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
He said, Kala says we have men like him in our village. The men that work in the forest and the market. They learn the tricks of the market and they bring it back to the forest. It's trickery in words. His words are the poison. Do not let that fool you, Brea. And I hold her shoulders, you know.
I'm genuinely picturing you still like lying down on the ground, but you've like got like his hands over his mouth, like there.
Yeah,
he's got,
no,
his
I'm
mouth
totally.
covered and his ears
And he's
covered.
dead in the morning. Who would have thunk?
He's suffocated.
Oh no.
Lenny his ass.
Yeah, Lenny is fucking ass. So Brea, you take first watch
Yeah.
as these thoughts bounce around your brain. Is there anything more that Brea thinks about, or is that sort of where she leaves it?
I mean, I think she is thinking about her her introduction into her profession, right, as a thief, and how she was taught always by her master that people have a lot. People live in excess, right? And that they're not going to miss something that they have so many of, that they need someone else to hire someone else to help them count, right? Like, that wealth exists and that it's not necessarily bad for you to relieve people of it.
So you sympathize with them a bit.
I think the thing that got under Brea's skin is that these people have so little to begin with, that they're living on the edge of existence. And that I think, especially spending a few days in that community, it really bothered her that this man might have put the community at risk to potentially steal from them.
Right.
Right?
And he admitted to as much, yeah.
So Brea, as you sit next to that like sack of coins that he said Medulon would only use to benefit the town, do you feel conflicted at all?
Oh, absolutely. Because she's like, well, we're earning this. And this guy's kind of a fucking asshole. Sorry. Kind of a jerk anyway.
It's okay. We've been dropping F-bombs.
I don't
all
think we
over.
worry
know,
about that
I know.
anymore.
I think at the beginning of this Sigil stream, we were
I think
like,
Aaron was
We
trying
didn't mean
be
to, but
diplomatic,
today was
and
extra.
I was like, whatever. Yeah.
Today was extra. It's okay. Everybody, I think everybody dropped them.
So is there a moment Brea's like debating whether or not they continue forward?
no, because I think he spoke truth to her in a way that made her feel like, well, if we're not that dissimilar and you're capable of this kind of betrayal, then if we betray you, it's proving your point, basically.
Interesting.
I kind of have a question, like as player to character, I guess. The fact that Brea was so quick to grab the map at the start and is now feeling like pretty, I guess, kind of disgusted by how this guy's preying on people who are so desperate and have so little. Is she sort of thinking of where the line is in terms of what's enough to actually steal from? Because I'm really curious to see if she's now thinking about all the
That's
things
a
that she
big
has
question.
taken.
It is a big question.
Now beginning
Because
to think
that
maybe that was
could change your character class.
Well,
right there.
I think a lot of the,
Mechanically, you know.
and I do think a lot of the anger that Brea is projecting at him, it's funny because we all hate this character. You know what I mean? For reasons that when quantified, besides the mystery elements, like who pushed it and whatever, they could be put back upon us as characters pretty easily. A lot of the motivations that have happened are not dissimilar from the things you've done. So I think a lot of this extra anger is actually a bit of that like guilt, where they're like, well, I hate you. It's like, do you hate yourself? Which I'm never going to have them say because it's just not fun. But it's interesting. I love the way those real human things play out,
Yeah, and in a different facet, she hates the creature that we were fighting against down in that hole. But then again, she sees so many of her abilities coming from a bloodline that is the same thing, right? So like how much self-loathing can she suffer under tonight?
Yeah.
I love that. She's like looking into the dark and
Give me a perception roll.
her dark vision is like shifting shades of gray and these like dark wet trees. Natural 20.
Whoa.
Oh, emotional dark vision into your heart.
Yeah. Yeah, you see something shifting at the edge of your vision.
Ooh, what is it? What
You
is
can't
it?
tell.
Tell me.
You just see movement.
You have to tell me. I got a natural 20. It's
Okay.
illegal.
All right. Fair enough. You see movement.
Oh.
It's a movement.
Are people sleeping right now, or?
Yeah, I'm snoring.
am I
Kyle's snoring.
alone?
I feel like
I'm
I'm
gonna slip into the shadows
Okay.
stealthily and try to circle around behind whatever is moving
Cool.
and see what it is.
Yeah.
I
You move.
draw my
quiet-
dagger silently.
You move quietly forward through the woods, trying to muffle your footsteps. Slowly but surely, you sort of take a wide arc in the direction of where you saw this figure move on just the cusp of your sight. You sort of square up to where you think you saw whatever it was move, or where you know you saw something move, I should say, to find nothing there. But just beyond it, a little farther back from where your light was, where you saw, you see the beginnings of stonework, dwarven stonework, in ruins. You see against the almost moonless sky, you barely see the outline of a building.
I'm gonna take a little tour, just investigate it very briefly.
Sure. You take a few steps towards it silently. Did you roll stealth?
You didn't ask me to.
Yeah, roll stealth now.
You're so much braver than I am. Oh my god.
Ooh, 14.
Yeah, you take a few steps forward and hear the snap of a twig beneath your foot. You sort of silently take a breath and look around. Nothing seems to stir. But you do see a large L-shaped building. It's sort of shallow, almost offset slightly. Why you didn't see it, it sort of has like a low profile against the surrounding area. You're not sure if it's just from time or what. But you do see a large building, multiple rooms, only one story. Sort of in an L shape.
Do I hear anything?
Give me a perception.
15.
15? No.
But I'm sure I saw movement.
Yes.
Brea says, into the night. I see you there.
Loudly? Mm-hmm. Okay.
No.
She says no.
No, you don't. No, no one's here.
I
Yeah,
just
so
the interesting pause was just, it was too pregnant.
You had to birth a
Yeah, I'd
word.
say you're like 55 feet from the facade of this building. So your voice sort of sounds out in the darkness.
Yeah. With my dagger drawn, held by its handle.
Cool.
I move forward into the darkness.
Okay.
I approach these ruins.
Okay. Yeah. You move forward silently across what looks to be a courtyard. A fallen door sort of underneath your feet, wet and old. You see the dwarven stonework of this L-shaped building suddenly come in around you. Two large stone doors sit slightly ajar. Or sorry, rather ajar, about 5 feet, wide enough to just walk in. Inside is complete pitch black.
I
You
look
can
in.
see slightly, but are you going to stand in front of them?
Yeah, I look in.
Cool, yeah. You look in to see a small hallway just off the inside that branches left and right, and a pair of double doors that are also ajar.
Okay. I quietly head back to my sleeping companions.
Good, because it's too early to kill you.
Oh, okay.
And
What do you mean,
when,
like in the evening?
And
Yeah.
when the next
Give it a few
It's only 8 o'clock.
who's up next for watch duty?
Garrus will probably take it.
When Garrus goes to relieve her, unless anything happens before then, she's going to tell him about it. She says, we didn't properly scout this site before we made our beds. There are ruins just there, past the big tree.
Guess what? Oh, the big one or the big one?
bigger, the big one in the back.
My
there.
goodness, that is a large tree. Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about.
And I saw movement. But when I investigated, there
right.
was nothing. So
All right, well,
stay sharp.
yeah, maybe tomorrow we go investigate as a group.
Maybe. Anyway,
Okay.
good night. She's
Good night.
asleep in 4 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. With that in mind, Garrus is not going to like do anything foolish, but we'll just keep frosty.
Yeah. Give me a perception roll, Garrus.
We'll see how frosty. I still have... All right, so let me see now.
Literally.
Okay. I got a 10, which would make it an 11. I'm going to use a luck point
Okay.
Ooh.
to re-roll it, which... okay. I'm gonna do my long rest now, and then subtract my luck point from my new amount. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Take a long rest. Confirm. Okay. Luck point. Okay. I'll re-roll it. Okay, that's better. 16.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. You stare off into the darkness and see nothing.
Cool.
Aw.
Jaw.
You know when you're like staring so hard into the darkness that your eyes start to like burn?
Yep.
You
You had to like look
imagine
to the
things are
side or
moving and they're
something.
not.
Rather, yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
I remember
saw.
being young and like in my bedroom, just like looking in the darkness, and like the robe on the back of my door would seem to like shift and move. You know?
Oh, did you ever see Neverending Story?
No.
Well, there's
I
a big
forever ago, ever.
there's a big black wolf in it. It was real scary. I used to see him on my wall, like looking at me when I was young. Terrifying
Oh, no.
the shit out of me. Great
The
film,
rock
though.
dude?
No, the
Wolf.
Gamork.
Oh yeah. Why did you have that? Such a terrifying
The
thing.
most evil puppet.
Oh no, he wasn't on my wall. I would see blank wall, and in my
you imagine
imagination, he'd be looking at me, going like. "Ugh." It's a fantastic film, though. I love it.
Cool.
Gareth still
Okay.
nibble under sleep.
Good.
You're all dead.
I knew it was coming.
All right.
Fuck
Everybody
you.
roll for initiative.
No! Wait, have we long rested?
No,
No, we're in the middle of it.
in the middle of it.
We're in the middle
Damn
of
it!
She's exhibiting like the correct emotion. It's like the first time you've been attacked in camp.
Yeah. All right. What did everybody get?
18.
18.
13.
13.
Yeah, yes.
Erica
My beautiful 4.
and Ahmed.
15.
13.
Does
you
this
said,
count as
Gary.
a short rest at least?
No, unfortunately
Damn it!
not.
But I had a whole sleep.
So did I.
No, the opposite.
I didn't have
You
sleep,
didn't
but everyone
sleep.
else did.
You what?
Everyone else had a sleep.
No. You're there halfway through their sleep, right?
That's a
'Cause
short rest.
It's still the middle of the night.
That's okay.
Nobody had to sleep, right?
Still the middle of the night.
See, I either cat nap or I don't nap. So there's apparently no in between. So that's fine. That's fine.
So-
That's fine.
Will Garrus have had a long rest then, or no? Because I actually don't have to adjust much if I haven't had one. I can get back to where I was, I think.
Yeah, you probably would have kind of planned on sleeping really early.
Okay.
'Cause you-
Garrus has had a long rest.
We'll say Garrus has had a long rest because mechanically that sort of makes the most sense. You know what I mean?
Cool.
To my knowledge, to my thinking. Sorry, I had to do a bunch of stuff because I did not expect
I was gonna say,
Rita
did we
go to
break your game?
bed. What's that?
I was gonna say, did we break your game?
No, not break it. It just takes me a bit of planning. So
How dare
unfortunately,
you do healthcare work-life balance?
I know. So unfortunately, a few things happen. And Erica. So, Bran noticed something, but didn't say anything. And then only to Garrus, and Garrus failed his perception check. So unfortunately, not only are they going to get a surprise round, but of all the creatures that are sleeping, you are unconscious. Which means, and I just Googled this, So you, the three of you, when you're attacked, and you will be attacked, are going to automatically fail strength and dex saving throws. They will have advantage, and luckily nothing will be within 5 feet of you. So just so you're wondering why all these are probably going to hit.
Well, if they're attacking prone people from range, they have disadvantage.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, okay. Then they'll probably run up.
Yeah, Joe.
Because I wasn't going to have them run up.
And remember, after that first round, that's it. Like, we're up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
save after that. So they get their little attack, but then, we're on after that.
Oh, no.
It's all right. It's all right. It's pretty bad, but, it's okay. I think we'll make it.
I guess passive.
We'll probably all
Passive
survive,
insight.
right?
You know what? I think what's going to happen is we're going to end
depends.
because there's a lot of rules that I need to read. So what we're going to do
Oh
is
no!
and what's
This
going to
better be
happen
the best
is
It's a dragon.
sleep you ever had.
It's a dragon.
It's a dragon.
unfortunately. No,
It's a
it's
dragon.
not.
It's 10 small dragons.
So unfortunately,
That's like worse.
so
It's worse.
Garrus, as you
Yes.
sit there watching the darkness, you sort of stare in the direction that Bria says to you. And as you sort of
At the dragon.
stare silently in the night, suddenly you hear sounds on either side of you,
It's your colleagues gurgling death.
running towards your sleeping party. And we are going to end there.
No.
Yeah.
Bad,
Sorry.
I genuinely don't like that you include the description of them running because that is actually a
Like-
lot more terrifying. That's
Well,
worse.
Yeah.
Naruto running towards us just to kill
Well,
is awful.
actually, my nerd brain was like, how many feet? That was my nerd
Hey,
brain was
there you go.
immediately like,
The centipedes
are they running on
start
2 feet or 4
towards
feet?
you. Yeah,
how
exactly.
how many bodies? How many?
Great job, guys. Great role playing. Really fantastic job.
I love this new crowd. They're so
And
like.
you know what?
Yeah, they think it's
like-
fun. Being
I like a good ambush. A
Yeah.
good night
hells
fight.
yeah.
Once you get into like
Hells
the
yeah.
upper levels where people are casting fucking little hut, whatever, Lehman's tiny
Lehman's
hut.
Tiny Hut.
That doesn't
Yeah.
get to happen anymore. Like this is
No,
fun shit.
Right.
Embrace this. This is
Right.
great. This is going to be really great, guys.
This won't be like this
totally
forever,
embraced.
guys.
Yeah.
This is going to be totally good.
You'll miss this when it's gone.
Yeah. So next week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We'll be back next week at the same bat time, same bat channel. And as my good friend Gary always likes to say,
You're just gonna wipe your butt from top to bottom, back to front, and you'll be a clean little boy. I don't know why I said that.
I like it. Good night. How I